Ready, Derek?
Yep.
Okay. Good evening. Welcome to Our Voices, the People's Media, where we inform, transform, and empower. Our goal is to bring awareness and knowledge regarding politics, economics, education, health, and wellness, as well as environmental issues and concerns that impact your everyday life. Knowledge is power. If you'd like to participate in the conversation, call us at 850-206-3776 or make comments on our Facebook page and we'll answer your questions or read your comments on the air. Calls are accepted on Sunday only during our show hour. We as hosts have comments, opinions, in fact, that you may not agree with. We want you to fact check, Google, or research any topic that we present on the show. If there's something that we say that you have additional insight in, or just want to make comments or leave a comment, or just holler at us on Facebook, and we know that we must talk about issues and listen to perspectives from all sides with an open mind so that we can make an informed decision. Good evening, everybody. We'll go to our host, Mr. Derek Scott was the chair of the Democrat Party here in Escambia County. Also, Jill Daggs. I don't know why I do that. Jill Daggs. I'm trying to make you rich, Jill, I guess.
She already rich.
Sharon, yeah, I know. Sharon, Okaloosa State Committee woman. We have Mr. Bill Snow, who is the author of the great book from the projects to the boardroom. Mr. Vernon Watson, where you'll be watching this show, is with WBQP, the owner and proprietor of WBQP TV. Also, Christina Forrest. Want to thank everybody for coming in. Derek, we'll get it back to you.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. And as Mr. McIntosh said, thank you for joining us this evening. I hope everybody's doing well. We are going to kick off because we did not do it last week. We are going to kick off this week with a few of our Black history facts. I see that everybody went off screen, so that must mean that they forgot to do their Black history facts. So I'm going to start with Mr. McIntosh. Do you have anything that you would like to share with us for our Little Known Black History Month facts for this week?
Would like to Elijah McCoy, who invented the lubricating machine, to lubricate where right now when we go change our oil and when we use all kinds of things that need oil, we have to thank Elijah McCoy. So that's my little Black history fact. I would invite everybody to go dig a little deeper into it because there are so many other things that he did as well. So that's my little Black history fact. And we know that if it wasn't for oil, we couldn't drive our cars and stuff. So I want to thank our brother from past time that helped us to make it this country great as it is. And it's so many more inventions that's out there that I was reading the book today about Black folks invented everything, going all the way back to thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe a million years of inventions that has been done, how we did it. And, at one time, when we go to the bathroom, we don't think about it. It was a Black man that invented the toilet bowl. So I'm adding something else to it, but I know somebody else might already have that on their list of things that they want to talk about. But yeah. Back.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm going to, since they are back, they have to go get their facts. I'm going to go to Christina next. Christina, do you have
Thank
shares,
you.
something to share with us?
I do, as always. I always have something to share. It's great to be here today. For Black History, I wanted to talk about Dr. Patricia Bath. Y'all know my regular 9 to 5 actually work in eye care. So I'm a technician. I work in an ophthalmology clinic, and we do cataract surgery. We work with patients with glaucoma, all different kind of things, including even LASIK. Modern cataracts is normal. As we age, we will all develop a cataract. The cataract surgery that we know today is actually pioneered by Dr. Patricia Bath. And she is one of the great ophthalmologists that pioneered how we do current modern day cataract surgery. Absolutely incredible woman, and I would definitely look her up.
Thank you for that. Okay, we will go to our host extraordinary, Mr. Bill Snow. Let us know what you got today for us.
Well, I'd like to call attention to Medgar Evers, born in Decatur, Mississippi. Very brilliant brother. He got involved in the Civil Rights Act, in civil rights after the Supreme Court and the Brown versus the Board of Education in the 1950s. Our brother worked with the NAACP. I think he was the finance guy for them, but he was brutally murdered there in Jackson, Mississippi, at his home in his driveway in 1963. He was a very, very great guy. Evers was murdered in 1963 at his home in Jackson, Mississippi, and Medgar and Merle Evers' home is now a national monument. In 1954, Mississippi, this group was formed. Well, that's the White Citizens Council, a member of the White Citizens Council in Jackson. This group was formed in 1954, Mississippi, to resist the integration of schools and civil rights activism. As a veteran, he was a veteran also, finally laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery in D.C., and there was conflict about that. But nonetheless, he was buried there. He was a veteran, rose to the rank of sergeant, but yeah, they figured he's not as prominent as most of our other civil rights leaders during that time, because of that same year the president was assassinated over there in Dallas, and that kind of his assassination basically took a back seat. But he was a Medgar Wiley Evers, born in 1925, somebody that we need to remember and pay attention to.
You're on mute, Derek.
Sorry, thank you for that. Jill, I know you were scrambling over there. Did you get your? This is the person that should have had theirs, because she said I had several.
For the record, Mr. Scott, our host, is incorrect. I actually turned my camera off because my cats were going crazy, and I didn't want you guys to see them fighting, because I have pages of facts, and my facts were already here and ready to go. However, I always like to listen to Christina and how she starts her stuff, so I'm gonna, not that I am a national sports person, but back in the day, I played softball all the way up through college, and so I thought I'd share some sports information for our sports watchers and lovers, and specifically because our host, Derek Scott, doesn't like sports half as much as I do. So this is the fact I'm going to share with you. George Coleman, Poge, became the first Black person to earn a medal at the Olympic Games in 1904. He was a hurdler. And in 1908, after winning the 4x400 meter relay, John Taylor became the first African-American to win gold in the Olympics. And in 1948, Alice Coachman became the first Black woman in the world to win Olympic gold medal by competing in the heist. So we've been here for years and years and years. And I actually have a question that I'd like to ask after you finish, once everybody shares their facts, to the hosts for a discussion on Black history.
Okay. Sounds good. Mr. Vernon, do you have something that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I got is everybody hear me okay? I got my mic on? Okay, good.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. I like to share, like I say, the unsung heroes. There's a lady, if you don't know about her, you probably need to do a little Google or a little research on her. Her name was Lily Mae Carroll Jackson. She's out of Baltimore, Maryland. And she is credited with being one of the strategists of the nonviolent civil rights movement that Dr. King employed. And she has earned the distinct title of the mother of the civil rights movement, and they call her Miss Lily. So her name is Lily Mae Carroll Jackson. She died, I think she died in 1975 or so, but she was a brilliant woman. She was involved deeply into the civil rights movement, in particular out of Baltimore, Maryland area and everything. So that one person that we ought to get to know, along with Byron Roston, that also was the strategist for Dr. King. If you hadn't seen that movie, have you seen the movie yet? If you hadn't seen the movie, you need to look at it for Byron Roston. If I'm pronouncing his name correct. He was a strategist and made the March on Washington in 1963. He strategized and set that whole thing up and made it possible in 1963. That was his idea and his dream, and he made it happen. So those are the two people that I want to share in terms of Black history.
Thank you for that. Before I move on, I'm getting some feedback, just FYI, Mr. Vernon, that they're not able to pick up the show on the app. Not on the app.
Not on the app?
Sure
not on
what it is. Yeah.
Okay, I'll
go through on the Roku or whatnot. It's not picking up.
When you say the audio is not picking up, the show is not picking up there.
The show is not picking up at all.
Okay, okay, all right. So I'll check it out.
Hey, thank you for that. Well, I guess I will go and share with everybody just a couple of things
Hey, Derek.
from.
Derek, I am hearing it on the app. Is it on Roku or the app?
When you go on the Roku, sorry, on the Roku.
Okay, I'll double check the Roku. Okay, thank you. But it is working on the app.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So on that, if we go to some information, just thought I would talk about it just briefly. Quick facts. We all talk about who the first Black billionaire is in this great nation, but I don't know if you know who the first Black billionaire. We may, if you think about it. Does anybody know who that is?
Oprah.
No, Musa Musa.
No, it was
Oprah.
It was BET man, Robert Johnson.
There you go, Bob Johnson.
Yeah,
Bob
okay,
Johnson.
in America. Okay.
Bob Johnson is the first Black billionaire to ever think. We always say it's Oprah, and then we'd say Tyler Perry. But before there was Tyler Perry and Oprah, Robert Johnson became the first Black billionaire after he sold the cable station that we know of as BET back in 2001. So just a little something to share with you from that standpoint. We always talk about our southern states and not having Black representation oftentimes, and certainly the strength, the perils that we have to go through to get it. But I want to share with you one of the little things. The first Black senator to ever be elected to the U.S. Senate was, his name was Hiram Rhodes Revels, and he represented, oddly enough, the great state of Mississippi. So just a little known fact that we don't know. And lastly, when we talk about the pursuit of higher education, the first Black person or the first Black woman to earn a 4-year degree was Lucy Stanton, and she graduated from Oberlin College in the year of 1850. So these are just some things that highlight our Black history, our success, our accolades that we've achieved even through tough times and tragedy. We still come up and faced adversity and made it on the top. So something to aspire through. I'm glad that we continue to have Black History Month. We should probably do this, as we go through the year, every, every Sunday, so that we share, because there's clearly enough Black history to fill up a talking point every episode that we share, but just something, certainly through this month that we've been able to highlight. So I thank you all to the hosts, to all of the hosts for participating, and we shall move on. Next up, we have our COVID and RSV updates. Yes. Oh, sorry, Jill, you did have a question. Sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
That's okay.
I forgot.
That's okay. So I was thinking when I was doing my homework that Jerry gave us, and I'm hoping I asked this question correctly, but what hit me was here we are researching, trying to find facts that are unknown to some. And then I was thinking about how much we know about other people. Like when we're in school, like you went through school and they teach you all this history, and we have history buffs that they go to competitions and all of that, and they can say all the history, but we don't know about our own history. Why is that? And what can we do about it? Because I shouldn't have to have pages. I should be able to just say, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, but that's just not the way we grew up. And they're trying to erase it now. So I guess my question was, how do we feel about that? And what can we do about
it? My thought is that everybody ought to have a cultural library in their house. As much as possible, at least start collecting books until that time comes when we are able to not even have to ask that question. But until then, I think we're going to have our own library if we have to set it up ourselves or around the country. But by the same token, we need to have books in our home where we can turn to do research. I know there's a lot of research out there on social media that people have done and putting it out there. I watch a lot of the people who are on TikTok who are doing the history, and also on Instagram and Facebook. They are putting a lot of good history out there. But by the same token, it's being drowned out by all the other stuff that's out there too often. But yeah, we should have a cultural library in our house as much as possible and start collecting books as much as possible. I've been doing it for years because with the flick of a switch, we turn everything off on the internet, and get rid of everything. That erasure is something that's happening. And when we can see it in schools, and there's no major outcry to me from the students that go to these colleges, like it was in the 60s, it's kind of concerning, and it's kind of, kind of dismaying to see people are not fighting hard enough to make sure we keep these things, historic facts and books and things of that nature into the school system. And I know there are people out there that's doing it and it's not being covered, but by the same token, it's not enough being done.
Mm-hmm. It's a very true point. And to your point of having a library, I think, Christine, I don't know if you have the book in front of you, but I think what the Panhandle Coalition, the Northwest Florida Panhandle, not to be confused with others, the Northwest Florida Panhandle Coalition for Civic Engagement, along with other organizations, will be looking to give away some of the books. And we're starting, I think a great starting point is a book, I think it's called All Black Girls Are Activists. that we are going to be donating for free so that, we can start the repertoire. But to your point, at least starting to give people a bridge so that they can start to build upon that as a first step. And then as we move forward, to gain on, garner upon that. And then look at, we do have Black bookstores and resources available. I know Paul Dixon has the Black Cafe and Bookstore. I was just there today, and has a ton of great books that are available, that focus on Black literature, Black history and whatnot, and great opportunity to capitalize on some of those options as well. So yeah, I agree.
Derek, also, I think around the country, we should have people that own bookstores come on the show and talk about their stores and their books and why they decided to do an African American bookstore, and where people can go and find them if they are traveling. I talked to the brother in Chicago, just one of them, and he just had just books everywhere, and so I picked up about 3 or 4 from him. But we need that. We need to be able to go and find books and get them for a decent price. If you notice, when you go to these big conglomerate bookstores, Black books are the only one that you probably never see on sale. It's amazing. And I've checked it out over and over again, because when Miss Blackman closed her bookstore, it was really a hard deal to me, because I was used to her ordering, going there and getting books, and she would force me to buy 5 or 6 books rather than one. I missed that.
I got an idea about Black books.
Go ahead.
Okay, since they banning them everywhere, let's collect them.
I agree.
If now's a good time to collect them, because I'm sure they're not going to stay banned forever. We get these crazies out of there. We're going to get back to normal. We're going to get there. But if they're going to ban them and give them away, well, let's collect these Black books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Vernon, what you're saying is actually what we're trying to do in Santa Rosa County when we go to our school board meetings. We are definitely opposed to banning of books. And then for all books that are being taken out of the classrooms, out of the libraries, we are asking for those to be donated to the Democratic Black Caucus or to the NAACP if they want to go to a non-political group. So that is our ask and our demand, because that is paid for with taxpayer money, and that needs to be accounted for.
Okay.
To your question, Jill, I grew up a little bit different. So I didn't have the same, before I graduated high school, I went to 13 different schools all across this nation and overseas in Germany. When I finally graduated high school, it was in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. And it was a predominantly Black school, and it was actually founded as a Black school during the time of segregation. Majority of my teachers were Black. Majority of my administrators were Black. I came up and we were reading everything. I mean, and it was, we had to learn, lift every voice and sing. You can get through school without knowing the words, lift every voice and sing. When I was in middle school, and probably the first part of my high school, I was living in Germany. And I was going to school an American school on a military base, but my school was taught more in Spanish. It was taught in Spanish and English throughout middle school. And we had so much influence. It was really amazing. And so it's so hard here not growing up, but watching my children grow up and seeing the school. It was very different in Virginia through some of the schools I went through, but my experience just wasn't the same. It was very, very different. And it's really disgusting to see people who call themselves educators not trying to educate. And it's heartbreaking.
But even when I was growing up, we had, that was before what we call the illusion of integration and all of that. All of our teachers were Black at the time, but the affordability of books and all of that was, because the school got so much less money than the white institutions. The schools was scrambling, trying to even just keep up with to have sports uniforms. And even though school was one of the best out there, but the affordability of books and all of that, and to be able to have a library that was really focused on African-American history was a problem. And many things that I learned, some things when I was in school, but most of the things I learned after I left school when I got to Chicago. And that was when I met some of the brothers from the Nation of Islam, and they would begin to tell me about different books and, and how they learned about how Elijah Muhammad was telling them that you have to learn yourself first. If you're gonna be the kind of person that you want to be, you got to know yourself. And so you teach a man his history, and everything else he will do himself, And so that's why, if you notice, most Muslim brothers and sisters, most of them have their own businesses. So, and that's because of that self-love they have, that independence of who they are, that have been taught to the history of our people and what we can do, and rather than us, doing a lot of procrastination and all of that. But they have mastered that, as a matter of fact, and teaching it to their young children and everyone else. Now, one of the things that I didn't know about was the slave laws until I got to Chicago. I had heard about it, but I didn't know about it. So I began to research that and find out, this is how things was really were. And this is why they want to erase all that history, because for one, they don't want their children to sympathize with you and empathize. Two, they don't want to show that during the 60s, that was my grandmother out there, protesting and throwing bottles and spitting on people, and, all kinds of things that was being done, and the language that was being used, and all kinds of name calling that took place. So at the end of the show, I'm going to read some of those slave laws so people will have an idea. If they haven't read it already, I want you to read it. And then the slave code. It was slave laws, and then there was codes. So we'll do, as we were talking about earlier, we're going to do some Black history all year long, because there's more than enough to fill up America. I give back to you. Christina, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna kind of tag on to what you said. When I first went to the school in Maryland, I remember I was just in regular classes at first, and you were talking about how we didn't have books and things like that. I mean, what they gave us, we couldn't even take home our books. We had classroom sets of books. Derek will laugh at me, but I was saying, in the regular classes, we were often, the teachers didn't really teach in the regular classes. We were often just given dittos, or we would be, with different subs for up to 6 months, sometimes even longer. It was really not a great conducive environment. And then when I went to the AP courses and the talented and gifted classes. It was like I was walking into the same school, but it was really, I don't know if y'all remember that old like Kid and Play movie, but it was like I was going to a totally different school. We had the engagement was fantastic. We had a wealth of books to choose from. It was just completely different. And it's still going through the same school, same teachers, but having just a completely different experience just from one class to another. One was basically more like babysitting. They just didn't want you to fight. Whatever you did, they didn't care. They just didn't want you to fight in class. And the other one was actually about learning. And so, yeah, it was you really, even at such a young age, it was different. I mean, real different.
You know, just a second there.
Go ahead.
The things that I got a chance to do living in Chicago, all these great speakers and poets and all of that will come through there. And I got a chance to meet and talk with them and see where, how they did what they did, what made them tick, in other words. And it was really deep and interesting to talk to different people from different walks of life that had, wrote books, and telling you that you could do it, and the great poets and inventors. There was people that was still alive that I met was still inventing stuff. There's still people inventing stuff right now that we, the guy that made the machine that sucked the air out, sucked the air and turned it into water. He was in Chicago when I was there at one time. So it just shows you that these people, that we don't often get a chance to see in the southern parts, but they are all over, in different places. And I guess we just have to make way for them to. And I think this platform is a good way of doing that, bringing people on that can help with knowledge, and that people can buy books from them to gain that information and the inventions. There's the book that I have on invention has the patent number, the year that it was done, but the Black people didn't make no money off of it. They gave them the patent, they gave them the patent number, but they took the product and made billions off of it to this day. That's why I said Tuskegee University should be the richest college in the world. But as a matter of fact, it's struggling too in a lot of instances with all the inventions that came out of it. Go ahead, Vern. You're on mute, Vern.
Just one technical note about Roku. I don't know what the problem is on Roku. I checked the feed that we sent out. The feed is good. I don't know whether Roku down. I'm not able to even access Roku from here. I don't know whether their system is down or what's going on with it. So, but if anybody missed Roku, just tell them to go directly to WBQP.TV.com. It's live there, or just go to the app on the phone or on the tablet. It should be live there as well. Okay. I don't know. I've been working on, but I can't even access Roku. But the same feed that we sent out to the mobile app is the same feed we sent out to Roku. So okay. I'm not able to access Roku from here. So I don't know what's the problem with it. So and are they able to access it at all? Get the other stuff, but not getting us?
Yeah, because right now it's showing the grill, like something with Mariah Carey.
Showing the grill?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I might be able to fix that then. Hang on for a second. If it was
I just sorry, you see me looking back. I was trying to just look at it at a small review in the same room I'm in, just to see it popping up, and it's still showing that same thing.
Give it about 60 seconds then. If it's showing it shouldn't be showing the grill, but if it's not showing the grill, then it's a technical error on my part then, because I had to reprogram everything from last week when I was out of town, so that might be the issue. So give it about 60 seconds, and see will the show pop in now if it's showing the grill right now. So I just switched it over. Okay, all right, we'll continue.
So you pulling the AT&T on us, Byron?
I look like it.
AT&T, I couldn't even dial out the other day. I was one of them 70,000. I'm like, wow, I'm one of the people that says AT&T I can't dial out. I was all down to the place. They said, oh yeah, Mr. McIntosh, we got a technical problem. I'm like, I thought it was my phone or something. I wanted to know. I just
by the time I got up, I didn't notice the difference. Everything was back working by the time I got up.
Wow. No.
Go ahead, Derek.
Well, certainly what I'd like to do is, we were on something. Oh yeah, with the COVID and RSV, just quickly, please make sure it's the same update that you've heard, and we will continue to make sure that we emphasize this, that COVID has not gone away. We're living in an endemic state at the moment, which means that we are learning to live with COVID. I know a few people who have just recently been afflicted with COVID. Matter of fact, there was I won't say a super spreader, but quite a few folks got COVID here recently in our area, who all attended the same event. So just be sure to make sure that you are masking when at all possible. I think all of us were at an event, well, Mr. McIntosh, Christina, and I were at an event yesterday where our table was the only table that had on masks. That was the 150 or some odd people that were in that small space. But it is still live and well. People are still getting sick. I have members of my Democratic Executive Committee who are sick, to this point, still taking Paxlovid, which leads to my second point. If you are feeling ill, please make sure that you test. There are remedies like Paxlovid that can help mitigate symptoms or lessen them for the amount of time that you are afflicted with COVID, down to a 5-day period versus a 2-week or so that you normally do. But the best way to do that is to take your safety precautions as serious as possible, and also to make sure that you are up to date on your boosters. Has everybody here had a booster recently in the last 4 to 6 months?
I haven't, but I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it, that's for sure.
So please, as we do that, let's make sure we maintain your health, because that is paramount to anything else that you have. Now, what I would like for us to do is, a few of us, we did not get an opportunity last week, but I don't want us to forego the time. Mr. McIntosh, Jill, and I had the wonderful opportunity of going as partners through Movement for Change, the Northwest Florida Panhandle Coalition for Civic Engagement, Real Women Radio. If you recall, Nicole Dixon was on our program a few weeks ago talking about the day at the Capitol. So I wanted to give an opportunity to our co-host Jill and certainly Mr. McIntosh, because he has something that I think it would be great for everybody to hear about, as to what their thoughts were about the day at the Capitol, lessons learned, and how we can get more people involved in going next year as it comes around. Because this is we should go to the Capitol quite often, but certainly on the days that we mark it as days at the Capitol, we should have participation from our community and other civic partners. So Jill, I'll start with you. What were your thoughts? How did you think the event went? Lessons learned, et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you for that. I actually was going to go to Mr. McIntosh because he has great news, but I will share. It was absolutely amazing. Yet again, this is our second year that we've partnered with that team, and Equal Ground lays it out very well. From early in the morning, we were fortunate enough to be helpers. And so in Tallahassee, I think it was 40 degrees. So we were outside doing badges, freezing, but giving out badges. They had coffee, donuts. And so it was It was very, very cold, but it was absolutely worth it. 9 o'clock, we're inside. We got to go to see the Senate. We got to see some legislators. And I would say to everyone that you need to do it at least once. You need to understand all this that we're talking about, how it actually happens, and how great it is to sit in the office. I don't remember her name, but she was an advocate. She was a Democrat, but she was just an advocate. She was open, she was sharing, and it was just, it like enveloped you like, yes, we have people up here that are fighting for us. Because often all we hear is the negative, the negative, the negative, the negative. It's wonderful. And they were appreciative to see us, to hear us, to, oh, you're here to see me. What did we saw? We saw Rep. Patricia Williams, and she used to go, don't forget to come to my office. You know, it was just really and you see so many people from across the state. So it wasn't just Northwest Florida. There was Central Florida and South Florida. Just, I think they said almost 300 people was what they were expecting to be there. And the way they put the program together, you have just all these different opportunities. And then they had a fabulous press conference. And then after that, they fed us really well. And then they put us in the auditorium in the dark. So, but so it almost made you want to go to sleep. But then they had really good speakers come in. They had, I know Senator Chevron Jones came in and others. They had students there. So we were able to hear, what are students thinking? What do they feel? How much work do we really need to do after hearing what they were saying, what they were doing? There's a lot of work that needs to be done, and it's good to be around like-minded people, but really to understand the process. Like, especially if you're close enough to go, like we're in Northwest Florida, and we often complain because almost everything that people do happens in Orlando or Tampa or Miami. And here we are 2.5 hours away from Tallahassee. I think we should go more than once. I think we should go, on the bus with that coalition, and maybe we go in the beginning of the session and the end of the session. We just need to be more engaged. And I think the educational process, as we're telling you, go vote, go vote, go vote, that you will see when you're sitting on the floor and you're listening to bills that you know are horrific, and that you hear a group of people that are absolutely telling them, this is what it's going to happen if you say yes, this is how it's going to impact the people. Here's the facts. And there are hard studied absolute things that are going to happen. And they say, you're right, but we're still voting for it. You have to experience that to really get the sense of urgency that we're trying to give you over the show. And I think the more people that experience that, the more they'll understand why we're saying you really do have to get register and get educated and make sure you go vote. But overall, it was great to see everybody. It was great partnership. And in the future, I hope that we're able to do it not just once, but twice. And I think I will hand it over to Mr. McIntosh, who has a phenomenal thing that happened the night before. For the first time ever, they did a press conference. They did a social hour, a get together. Hey, we're glad you're here. The Miami team always has to come the night before. We were fortunate enough to come in the night before, and so they had a beautiful banquet, lots of food, free drinks, and just something really special that happened. And so, Mr. McIntosh, I will hand it over to you to share that.
Yeah, I have to concur with everything you have said, Jill. That it was cold that morning, and I had to go in for a minute. I was like, okay, my blood it's not that thick. I had to go in, warm up, and come back out. But it was cold. It wouldn't have been so bad if the wind wasn't blowing. And I didn't take my long coat. I usually never leave my long coat in the bargain, so I could pull it down on my head. But anyway, it was really nice. It was Equal Ground did lay it out for us after we got there. It was so nice. And the night before, as you said, they honored my late wife, Carol McIntosh, while we were there, which was really shocking. And we had no idea. I thought I said, Jill set this up. I had no idea that all that was going to take place. It was really nice. And they caught me off guard. How you can lose your composure right there. So I was trying to keep it together. So I didn't say anything because I couldn't say anything because I was so surprised. It was really nice that while we were there. And like you said, the food was good. Everything was really nice. It was an honorable evening to be there and to also the next day being involved in and becoming a helper. And Jill, you always get drafted for some reason, then you draft us. But I didn't go. But it was really nice, and I have to concur with everything you have expressed. So I'll take it back. I'll go back to you, Derek.
Yeah, no, I will say, I think what is important for you guys to understand about them dedicating, it wasn't just the dedication. So to the point Mr. McIntosh made, it caught all of us off guard. And I looked at Jill too, and I was like, you knew about this. You ain't say a word. But she was like, I didn't know anything about it. I think all of us in the back kind of shared the same sentiment where it was touching. Wonderful thing is for you guys who have not seen it, I would suggest go to the Panhandle Coalition for Civic Engagement's webpage on Facebook and take a look. I was able to, if I recall correctly, I think I live streamed the event or the presentation. We caught it at the end or towards the end because we didn't know what was happening. And so once we were like, wait, something's happening, let me capture this. It was an awesome thing. But more specifically, they named it the Harold McIntosh Day at the Capitol, which was the piece that, I thought was so befitting for Mrs. McIntosh. I caught everybody aback. So I will say, shout out to Equal Ground because we've not ever worked with them. They are absolutely class act. Shout out to Jasmine and Genesis and Justin and Pastor Marcus and McCoy. And their folks, they're great and they're beats to the ground, So I would say that for me, I think the event was great. I echo everything that both Mr. McIntosh and Jill recapped for the event. But I think for me, one of the key points, as Jill said, the adjustments that we had. So as Jill mentioned, we had the opportunity to sit with Representative Rita Harris, which is somewhere down Central Florida. I'll call it the Orlando area. I'm not quite sure how the district is broken up, but somewhere down there. She was able to sit with us and gave us some inspiration of how Democrats and folks are working on our behalf and making sure that they play their part in making sure that democracy does not die. But on the opposite side was, and I remember this because I thought it was such a poignant point as to the positioning and thought of our local representation. We tried to meet as a group of about 15 or 16 Black voters of Northwest Florida, tried to meet with our respective representatives. One of which who we tried to meet with was Representative Michelle Salzman, who represents Escambia County. Not only wouldn't they meet, there was a photographer that was with us for the event, and he tried to get a picture with our group and the aide, I forget his name, for Representative Salzman. He refused to take a picture and ran away. That's the only thing that sticks out. He refused to take a picture and literally scurried off like a mouse. He's like, no, and then ran off. So we're left like, what? Okay. So to be clear, I didn't want the picture anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it. But again, we were the hosts, I'm like, I don't need to be in the picture. But the fact that there were a delegation of about 15 folks who Michelle Salzman represents, and her office refused to take a picture and said no, and then ran off, was to me very telling of their position on how they look at folks, and particularly, I won't say, what I will say, what happened to be uh, a point out of note for me is that everybody in the group was Black. Now, you take that as you will. I won't say one thing or the next, but I'm just going to say everybody was Black and they ran away. So that was my thing. But outside of that, I made my chops on trying to navigate through the halls of the Senate to the House and all that stuff. So now I can effectively say I could go back and try to do it a second time with a little bit more ease. So thanks to Equal Ground, the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, Pensacola chapter, Alpha Kappa Alpha, the graduate chapter here in Pensacola, the Radio Foundation, Northwest Florida Panhandle Coalition for Civic Engagement, and Movement for Change for partnering and making this event happen and be such a success. So I will thank you for that. Now let's go into
before you move on, Derek, I forgot to mention, I didn't forget, I was getting the Tallahassee part out the way. The school board did adopt the Carol McIntosh education initiative. So that will be a part of her legacy as well, that the school board adopted and we will move on and try to set up a scholarship as well.
Jerry, if you could, Mr. McIntosh, elaborate on what that means, because a lot of people have been asking me since I posted it, what does that entail?
Well, we still, right now, some of the component is mentoring, parental involvement, conflict and resolution, and the educational skills set. But we are still working on other things that we're gonna put into that plan. And Ms. Lewis and I and others are working on that now. So once we get everything together, then we'll talk in more detail about what we are doing.
Thank you.
And what I thought was great was that it was a partnership. Like, you had so much support from the community wanting to work with the school board to help the children. That doesn't happen. We're usually, fighting them or they're fighting us. But this was a room full of everyone saying, hey, this you need to do. And then each one of them telling a story and saying, there's no other person we'd rather have this named after. Like, we're in 100% and happy to see that there is going to be a partnership. And that is, to me, absolutely Miss Carol.
The after event was pretty phenomenal as well, with the likes of Miss Celestine Lewis, Reverend John Powell, and the others, the Hugh King that turned out to just support our brother Jerry, Vernon, and WBQP. Everybody that showed up just to show love and support. It was a really nice event. It was short, sweet, and to the point. I tell you, Miss Celestine Lewis spoke so passionately. I was late at the meeting, but everybody had on a Miss McIntosh pen, and I went over to Miss Lewis and said, Miss Lewis, do you have another pen? She said, you know what? I've got one in my office. She took hers off and gave it to me. But she spoke so passionately. She spoke truth. And then Reverend John Powell got up and spoke. I mean, it was just a nice event. It really was. I'm glad that I can make it there. And the Honorable Mr. Rodney Jones and Derek Scott, everybody was in the building. It was just nice evening.
Hey, I want to thank all those people that I've done it on the radio, but I want to do it again tonight, because it was the people came out and spoke on behalf. It was so overwhelming I couldn't speak. I had stuff wrote down and couldn't get it out. But the outpouring of love and concern and to be a testament to the work that she had done while she was here. So, somewhere I read that, let the work I've done speak for me. So her work is speaking for her. Turn it back over to you, Derek.
I keep muting myself. Yeah, this is a great thing. I'm glad you do that because I skipped something, which is something that we all should make sure that we do. Is I wanted to make sure to give an opportunity to each of the hosts to see if there was something that they wanted to share with the public. Thank you for segueing to that and sharing that, Mr. McIntosh. Jill, do you have anything that you want our audience to know or they should know?
In reference to Okaloosa County, or you're just saying in general?
Whichever, yes.
Doesn't matter. Let's see. What do I want you to know? What do inquiring minds need to know? I'm going to tell you that I don't have anything right now, Derek Scott.
Maybe you don't.
I was going to come up with something fabulous, but
has several things that she needs to talk about.
What do I need to talk about? Go ahead, tell me what I need to talk about.
I say Christina has several.
Oh, yes, let's go to Christina first because she has several events going on, and then we'll come back to me last.
Oh, well, thank you guys. You guys are the best. And just hearing about everything that happened for the Carol McIntosh Day at the Capitol and the Carol McIntosh Education Initiative. If there's one thing I know about Miss Carol McIntosh, it's that she loved children. She loved children. And, she had so much joy and she brought it everywhere she went. And to see the statewide response is just beautiful. To hear each of you talk about what you saw and what's happening. This is what we talk about when we talk about legacy. And that's just beautiful. To go on what is going on here, I do want to say to Pastor Desi Lee and Carolyn McCrae, the Black History event last night at Santa Rosa County and Milton High School was absolutely phenomenal. To everybody who helped make that happen, it was just amazing. We had so many young people coming out and speaking. We had steppers, we had singers. There were 4 different choirs that came out and sang. It was really, really a beautiful, beautiful moment. And then today we had, with a different show in Santa Rosa County, it's called the Carmen Show. She did the first ever Black History Month march and just marched around, just gathered up, marched around Milton High School, and that was amazing. And out of that, Miss Mona Lewis, who's a realtor out in the Milton area, she went ahead and donated $1,000 towards our Selma trip. And so I just want to say thank you to everybody who is wanting to go to Selma with the Santa Rosa Democratic Black Caucus. This is a community event. It's open to absolutely everyone. I'll put a link for those who are watching on Facebook, but you can go to the Santa Rosa County Democratic Black Caucus page. You can sign up. It's $80. That includes your round trip transportation. We're going to be leaving out of Good Time Tours on Sunday, March 3rd. It's going to leave at 7 a.m. and then we'll be leaving Selma at around 5:30 p.m. coming back. And you also will get 2 box lunches with that. We do need all monies paid within the next 2 days because we do have to finish securing the bus. So please, 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 if you're wanting to go on, sign up and pay for that. If you can't get to that, you can always call me. My phone number is 202-834-7096. So that's coming up again on March 3rd. That's to commemorate Bloody Sunday. And it's a huge jubilee. We'll be doing a lot of walking. You know, you want to dress comfortably, and we'll talk more about that later. Bring a chair, one that you can, you know, wear over your shoulder for times that it's a lot of waiting. So yeah, we're excited. We're doing great things here. I also wanted to announce, since it is election season, I am running to be a Democratic delegate for the Biden-Harris administration. So everybody within Congressional District 1 can vote for me if you would like me to be that delegate. I'll let Derek, who's chair of the Democratic Party, kind of talk a little bit more about the dates and where you can go to vote over in Escambia. If you're interested in voting in Escambia, or for Jill Lewis Daggs, if you're interested in voting in Okaloosa, on where you can vote, the times and things like that. But I am running. I'm excited. I do ask for your support. If you have any questions about me or what I stand for, please don't hesitate to reach out.
So I didn't know Jill was
Can you tell them what that is? Because
Yeah.
I'm not sure everybody knows what a delegate is.
Sure. So a delegate is the person from your area that actually goes, and it's how Joe Biden at the national convention in Chicago becomes the actual nominee for the Democratic Party. So I am actually running for that position. Any Democrat within the congressional district can run. And that's basically what we do. And so that is going to be in August. It's 1 week convention. I don't know if anybody's ever seen like the national convention where a whole bunch of folks come up and speak, but there's actually work that we have to do, and we actually have to go and vote and make that all official. So that's what you're voting on, to say that I would be the one to represent this area for one of the delegate positions, to go to the national convention in August, to be one of those people that actually says, yes, my area does support Joe Biden.
And just so you know, for those who are watching, that this area is going to elect a total of 4 delegates, 2 men and 2 women, that will represent Congressional District 1, which is Escambia County, Santa Rosa County, Okaloosa County, and a sliver of Walton. And it's important, you know, although you may think it's not, I think it's important that we send the right people to represent our views and our issues, and say, these are the folks that we have faith in to elect, to nominate Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to the office of president and vice president, respectively, for the Democratic ticket. To me, I want someone that supports diversity and inclusivity, someone that has people of color's best interests at heart, and someone who is able to identify and understand how important it is that all people are represented and not just a select few people. So with that, for me personally, what I am asking everybody to do is to go out to vote for Christina. We also have an individual named Cassandra McAway who's running to be a delegate. Those are the 2 individuals that I want to endorse or make sure that if you're voting, vote for those people. Now, the question you ask is, okay, Derek, y'all, Christina, y'all talk about voting. How do we vote? This is open to every registered Democrat in Escambia County, Santa Rosa County, Okaloosa County, and Walton County, right? We have 2 options for you to vote. So if you are in those areas, you have one option here in Escambia County and one option in Okaloosa County. If you're in Santa Rosa or Walton, you can drive to either county and cast your vote. And that is going to be on April the 20th, before 20 Day. So it is going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Again, we have two locations. One is at Bethel AME Church, which is 511 Woodland Drive here in Pensacola. And the second one is Niceville City Hall, which is at 208 Parton.
Killing my county. You're killing my county. Killing my county. 208 North Parton Drive. It's where the city council chambers meets. It's right next to where you pay your water bill, and it's in the same complex as the police, the fire, and the library.
So this is going to be incumbent. I cannot stress to you enough how important it is to elect the right individuals to represent us. So you want it to make sure your interests are are certainly in favor and represent you. So with that, I would tell you to make sure that you select Christina Forrest and Cassandra McAway for those for that position as delegate. That's just my opinion, my personal opinion, and I'm sure the Panhandle Coalition, as we move closer to, will be sharing our recommendations and who we think should represent it as well. But I'll turn it over to Mr. Bill. Do you have anything that you would like us to know?
Well, first I wanted to piggyback on what Christina said about Miss Carol loving children. Miss Carol did love children, but Miss Carol loved people. She was always wanting to make sure people, she liked to feed people. At an event, if they were giving hamburger or hot dog, she always snuck me both. And then she would always say, take some with me if there's some left over. But and that's, man, that I tell you, that used to really, really bless me, because that's how my mom loved to see people eat. She loved to feed people. I just wanted to touch base on that part there. Also, I want to encourage everybody to pay the $80 to get on the bus. This Sunday at 7:00, man. Bloody Sunday. I don't know how they come up with Jubilee out of Bloody Sunday, but nonetheless, I'm with Reverend John Powell on that one. But Bloody Sunday, man, I've never gotten to Selma to do this, and I've been wanting to for the past couple of years, but I hit Jill up to tell her, hey, I need the link, man. I need to go ahead and pay. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to getting me some pictures. That was one terrible day in American history, and it is something that I've always wanted to do. And finally this year, I'm looking so forward to that. But if you're out there viewing us and you want to be a part of this, look, I'm getting on the bus. When they had the Million Man March, I think that's what they called it, get on the bus. But yeah, come on, y'all, join us. Let's fill this bus up. Let's not wait till what was the deadline, Christina?
We have to pay the bus in 2 days.
In 2 days. So come on, tonight, tomorrow, let's go ahead and
get 2 days.
Get that little old $80 in, and let's ride and have some fun.
Little $80. There you go.
Yeah, and plus
Mr. Ryan, do you have anything that you want? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What did you say?
I don't have anything that I can think of other than the fact that you're talking about Black history. The Pensacola State College is going to have their Black History program on Tuesday. It's open to the public, and it's going to be at the Student Center at the Pensacola State College. If you miss it there, we're gonna actually carry it live as well, and but we also gonna obviously repeat it back during the month as well. So that's all I had in terms of stuff. And Jared, are we going? Are y'all going to Selma on Sunday?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna come back and do the show. Or we're gonna do it from up there.
We're gonna come back.
Okay. All right. Good.
Well,
we won't be back.
Mr. McIntosh is going back.
We won't be back in time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right.
I don't know.
We might have to.
What's the deal?
Forego and then we do it from there live.
Okay, what's happening again? I missed that.
He said that we probably won't be back. I know usually when I go, I usually come back.
Yeah, we made it back. We made it back last year in time to do the show, but
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's just Christina and Bill.
So I would say the bus is not leaving until 5:30. So there is a large possibility that we would not be back in time.
Okay,
Oh.
won't be enough folks to do the show. Okay, I get it. Okay.
Well, Derek, are you going on the bus? Are you going?
No, I'm not going.
Jill, you going, right?
No, sir. I encourage everybody else to go. I think it's going to be phenomenal. Christina has a birthday coming up that next day, if I think I'm correct. And so share this. You will make.
It's my birthday.
It's the birthday. Yeah, March 3rd. Okay, so I was close. And so you can celebrate her birthday. You know, Christina is super passionate about this. Bill's told you it's going to be an awesome opportunity. Everybody that can fill up that bus, make her birthday fabulous, but more importantly, let's celebrate each other and Black history. Go out that month with Selma. I think that would be awesome. Jerry, to your question, yes, Derek will be home and I will be home.
The show goes on then.
Yeah. Come on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jared and I should be back then to do it. Yeah. Okay. No problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me just say this about Bloody Sunday. I know they call it a bridge crossing Jubilee now, but that led to the beating and almost the killing of John Lewis and others on that bridge, on that terrible Sunday. That these people beat these people and tear gassed them and all kinds of you ran over with horses and everything else. So, but it led to the Voting Rights Act.
Yeah. Hey, Jerry, just to interrupt you, it did lead to death. Viola Lewis lost her life, and Pastor Reeves
Reeves, yeah, sure
he lost
did.
his life.
Yeah.
During that movement. So it's just an important. I'm like you. Now I won't let you finish your sentence, but I'm like you. I don't agree with them changing the name from Bloody Sunday to whatever they got talking about Jubilee. It's just another way of trying to make other people feel better about the atrocities that have happened to us. And as long as we can downplay it, it's okay. So, but any rate, yeah, people lost their lives there. Okay, and just for the folks that don't know, the two people that died was happened to be white people that are supporting the cause.
And leading up to that, it was other blacks that was killed, like Jimmy Lee Johnson and all Jimmy Lee Jackson,
yeah.
Yes, that the church bombing of the 3 young ladies that was killed, but it was others that was injured and maimed as well. So, I think I know you're right about the atrocity. I disagreed with that when they said they were going to change the name of that, and they wanted to change the name of the Edmund Pettus Bridge. I think it should stand there for all history, for all times, because of what it signified at the time. And if it had not been for those crucial days, we might have not got the voting rights until years later, even though the momentum was on the side of the people, Black people at that time, but it was still a slow process. It didn't just come about in 1965 and 64 and all of that, and those free fair houses. The people have been fighting since the early days of in the 50s when Martin Luther King then really started protesting, but it went back further than that, all the way into the 20s when people was beginning to, especially people coming back from overseas in World War I and II, they were seeing things that life could be much better. That they call it the double victory, victory over there and victory at home. You were right about Medgar Evers. He was one of the ones that went overseas, fought, came back, and they formed the double B here that most people don't even know about. So unfortunate, and that's unfortunate because when I moved to Florida was the first time that I had been to the Edmonds Pettus Bridge and the bridge crossing, and it was all because of Miss Blackman. And she asked me, had I ever been? I said, no. And that was 41 years ago. And I said, I've never been there. And ever since, I only missed going there twice. Both times I was in the hospital at the time. But I go every year because of what it means significant and the legacy of it. Because so many people paid a heck of a price for us to have the right to vote, and then to hear something that just disturbs me all the time. Why should I vote? And I'm like, yeah, because you might be under a dictatorship in the next year if you don't vote, if you don't participate, and then on top of that, to hear people on Fox News that black folks don't vote for Trump because of a pair of gym shoes. They have relegated us to.
They say black people are going to vote for him.
Yeah, because of black people love shoes, so that's going to pick up a lot of votes for Trump. And I'm like, really? I mean, to think that we have no analytical skills whatsoever. To think that the only thing that we can see, the farthest we can see, is a pair of gym shoes, cheap gym shoes on top of it, that he charging $399 for, and that we're gonna run out and buy that. If I see somebody where, I'm just gonna have to say something. I'm just like, do it.
Yeah. And to be clear, he didn't say that black people, he said black men, which is trouble.
Black men, yeah.
The fact that, black men, they like tennis shoes. Mm-hmm. That logic is literally crazy in and of itself. But I have a feeling that these shoes, they'll be canceled before they even get out. If nothing, for no other reason, is that the tennis shoe has a red bottom on the red sole. And if you know anything about Christian Louboutins, or as women call them, red bottoms, that man is litigious about those shoes. So he is not going to allow someone to produce another shoe with a red sole underneath. So, I hope that they'll be, cut before they even go into production. But the fact that they're already sold out and they haven't been produced is crazy to me. In their websites, their policy, not because I went to go order any shoes, just want to be clear, but because don't give me the side eye, don't look too hard on that, Jim. No, I didn't go look for those shoes. But they talk about the fact that they aren't producing, they don't know when they're gonna ship them, how they're gonna ship them, they can't give you an expectation date of when they're gonna start shipping. They talk about production of mid-July. What? But these people have gone out and ordered shoes from something they even all I did was talk about it, and people done dropped their $400 of their good earned money.
There.
Sound like Trump University to me.
Hey,
go ahead.
Right. My mom, my daddy used to always have a saying, and so rang true now. He said, "A fool and his money will soon depart." Okay. Let them fools that part with their money, they want to give them to another fool. I don't care, let them do that. They say that these shoes are $18 shoes that he's selling for $3.99. Okay, and then some fool paid what, some thousands of dollars so he can have a pair of them. Mm. But just like I'm not gonna even give him even credit for that. But anyway, Jerry, can I get back to a point you said, Jerry? I think it's a very important point in considering this Black history. You talked about Jimmy Lee Jackson. Jimmy Lee Jackson is another one of those unsung heroes, if you will, that he was the whole reason that this thing tipped off in Selma, Alabama. And he wasn't even a resident of Selma. He was over in Marion County, in Alabama, but the sheriff killed him for no good reason. He was a Vietnam veteran. Man was 26 years old. 26 years old, killed for no reason. And they were protesting that. And he's the reason behind Bloody Sunday. So folks that didn't know, now you know. There's a lot of people in the background that caused this civil rights movement and history of it, like Reverend Dixon in Montgomery, Alabama. He's the architect of the civil rights movement. He's the one that really put Dr. King in the forefront, because the movement was already there. They just needed a leader, and Dr. King just happened to be in the right place at the right time to spearhead the movement.
Yeah,
Can I say that right here in our area in Northwest Florida, H.K. Matthews is a foot soldier who was there when this happened. The reason Jill mentioned, I'm sorry, not when it happened, but so I'll let Bill Snow talk about that. The reason why I'm so passionate about this is, Jerry, like you, for a long time, I'd never been till I moved down here for first time maybe 20 years ago. And I remember I went down and I'm looking in the eyes of people who literally shed blood for my ability to vote. I'm looking them in the eyes. This isn't some long ago history. This didn't happen like some thousands of years ago. This isn't a black and white movie. I'm looking at somebody in the eyes who literally shed blood for me to vote. And so I've tried, I haven't been as faithful as you, Mr. McIntosh, but I've tried every single year to go. I've tried to take my children. That is where I got, I always talk about how I'm a voting rights activist. I may not know everything, but the reason why I care about it so much is because of that reason. You know, I grew up, my grandfather was sent to Korea to fight in a war. He's passed on now, but he's from Clarksville, Tennessee, at a time when he couldn't even vote for the president that sent him there. And here I am looking eye to eye, face to face, having conversations with foot soldiers who were beaten, who were hiding, homes were bombed, just like you were talking about, who literally had a government against them for just standing and demanding the right to vote. So that's why I go every single year that I can. That's why it's so important that I make sure I take people with me, because I was one of those folks. I didn't know. I didn't cross that bridge. And then even when I go now today and I look around, that struggle's still not won. That struggle's not finished. So that's why we do what we do. That's why we care so much. Right now, we're just doing a day trip. But after this, in the future, I encourage everybody to go spend a whole weekend. There's so much education there. You have, and there's folks that come in from all over the country for this. But don't just leave and take nothing but a huge march and this celebratory spirit that yes, we are celebrating of how far we come. We still got a ways to go. We are not there. And don't think for 1 minute that what we have is guaranteed. Freedom's never really fully won. That's just passed from one generation to the next, and what we do with it now determines how our kids are going to live. And so that's why I am who I am. It's because of Selma. It's because of noticing that and then looking around and seeing, you know, folks like my grandparents and what they went through.
To piggyback on Christina's statement, I was thinking the same way, Christina, that he was there Bloody Sunday, but according to the Honorable Reverend Howard Conrad Matthews' book, Victory After the Fall, you guys have got to get a copy of Victory After the Fall. He was going to be there on Bloody Sunday, but he did not get off working down. There it is. Vernon is holding it up. Vernon, I bought 2 copies, brother. I bought an autographed copy and a copy to read, and it is a great read, especially if you're here from this area and remember all of the events that transpired. Yes, sir. I got mine too, brother, in safekeeping. But according to his book, he didn't get off work in time to be there on Bloody Sunday. But he was there the day after when they successfully crossed. He was there the day after when they successfully crossed.
Yeah, I got his book some years ago when it first came out. I've got an autographed copy from him many years.
I called him probably about 14, 15 months ago on Vernon's show. Vernon was interviewing him. Brother, I would have had one years ago also had I known that he had a book out. But when I saw the number when Vernon was interviewing him on the screen, and I knew it was pre-recorded, so I called him immediately, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, man. And I wrote down the specifics to get up there and get me a copy. And I read it when me and my daughter went on the cruise 2 months later. The next day. Great read. If you don't have Victory After the Fall, I'm telling you, it's a great read.
Thank you so much. You shared something I didn't know, so thank you. I really appreciate that. I don't have the book, so I've got a new book I gotta read.
I got it. You can read mine until you get your own. It's fabulous. It's really good. And I don't have a lot of books, but that book, I have a lot of books. I don't have a lot of historical books. So that's one of mine that stays on my shelf. Reverend H.K. Matthews is an amazing warrior, fighter. He loves everyone, and he gives you that will to continue to fight, that you can do it, that encouragement. It's when he speaks, it's like you just go back to, oh, okay, that's why I'm fighting. I can't give up yet. Because he's not giving up. He doesn't give up. He's still traveling across the country. Still. It's crazy.
There's a giant among us.
I learned about, I didn't know this until very, very recently. H.K. Matthews is the pastor of my daddy's church in Burnt Corn, Alabama, as we speak. I did not know that. He comes up there, drive from Bruton to pastor. They only have it once or twice a month or so forth, but I didn't realize that until several months ago. My sister said, Dr. H.K. Matthews is the pastor. No, you kidding me? I said, yeah, he's been the pastor there for a couple of years now. I never knew that fact.
There's a giant amongst us, guys. There is a giant. HK, he is the unadulterated First Church, nothing but the truth.
Yeah.
Spoke truth to power when it was deadly. He's the beast. He's the man.
I met Miss King in Selma, Alabama, some years ago before she passed, and got a chance to talk with her. The woman was so deep, her expression of the civil rights movement. And then when I went to hear her speak in the church, she was just awesome. And, she was not promoted the way I think she should have been as far as women are concerned. And one of the things Minister Farrakhan used to always say, he said, religion pushed women down and have kept them, in a place where it elevated men over women, but not intelligence. Sometimes, he was saying, that the intelligence of women, he said, a nation can't rise no higher than its woman.
Right.
When he said that, it really hit me. That's true, because she is the one that shaped the destiny of a nation, because she's the one that makes sure the children, even when she has to work, she's making sure the children have what they need. Their needs are met. The husband's needs are met. So when you push a woman down, you're pulling yourself down as well. And one of the things he said also, I was listening to him when I was at a speech he was making in New Orleans. He said, every great thing that come up on the earth going to come from and through a woman. He said the universe. He said because of religion has flipped things upside down. Said that God named the universe she. Every nation is called she. You know, and you know it gave me a whole new perspective on what we should be looking for, and how we how we have not allowed women to use the power that they have. And I'm not saying we. I'm not in that category. I'm just using just for for metaphorical speaking, because I believe that everybody should have the right to do and move and help move the nation of the world. And wherever you see the suppression of women, you always see that nation is in a suppressive state or oppressive state. So just wanted to say that because it came to my thinking, and I just wanted to say that, hey, if we are not elevating women, that's why it makes me mad when I hear them talking about the presidency of the United States as if Kamala Harris is not there. You know, that burns me to no end, because you got one of the most brilliant people in the world as vice president of the United States. You got, you'll hear him talk about all these other people that's running. I'm like, these are lesser, people. These are just mediocre people that they want to run. But here's a person that's with the intelligence of any man or woman combined, and not being elevated and being less considered by the so-called media in the country, so
Right wing.
yeah, right wing and liberal media, because they were the one, the liberal media was the one running around. Well, they call themselves, but they were running around talking about we need to choose somebody else. I'm like, well, what about Kamala Harris that's sitting there as vice president with the knowledge, already have gained knowledge in the last 4 years on how to run the whole thing, and running it from behind the scene anyway. So yeah, I had to just throw that out there.
Keep throwing it. Keep throwing it. It's great. It's great to hear. Michelle Obama said, "The future of our world is only as bright as the future of our girls."
Exactly. All right, Derek, it's back on you.
Absolutely. Well, absolutely. What I'd like to do is kind of bring us back. I know we have about 30 minutes left. I see your hand. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, but if I don't say this, I think Oklahoma County will be like, so you were there all this weekend and you're not going to say, hey, it was great. So they had their 5th annual Black Heritage Art Festival, and it was phenomenal. It was at Striving for Perfection. Ricky Steele was there, Art Jenkins, a lot of local artists. They had kids that sang, kids that did spoken word. It was an amazing time. Lots of vendors that were there. The Okaloosa Black Caucus and Democrats were there. We were able to get petitions signed for Gabe Alamont, who's running against Matt Gaetz, do voter registration, vote by mail. And I haven't, it was really well set up. Like they always do a great job, but this time it was just so inviting, and they had so many different vendors, and there was something for everyone. So whether you had a little bit of money or no money or a whole lot of money, everything that you could possibly want for Black history and Black art, and not just art that you put on the wall. There was a lady that makes your sippy cups and the coffee cups, and she hand makes them. She can make them for you, put whatever you want on. She had a couple that had, civil rights icons on that she did. It was just an amazing time. Music person next to you could come and bring your kids, and they could play music instruments. So it was just a wonderful day in Okaloosa County and Fort Walton Beach. And, thank you to Art Jenkins and his vision and those that supported him, and to Striving for Perfection for letting them have it at that location.
Absolutely. I think what I want to share, and I almost forgot, so I'm glad you interrupted. So I was about to go into something else, but we've talked about this before in our show. I think we've talked about it several Sundays in a row. But right now in the city of Pensacola, there is, if you were with us before, you heard Mr. Benny Washington call in regarding the Malcolm Young gym, the demolition of Malcolm Young gym, and how important it was that the community reach out and make their voice heard to save Malcolm Young gym. Well, they attempted to do so several Thursdays ago with the city council, and to no avail. The mayor had already made the decision and set forth his plan to have the Malcolm Young gym demolished. But this is when, we always say we are, Black folks are bright and resourceful and creative folks, and especially when we know the law. So shout out to Jonathan Green, who filed an emergency restraining order to keep from having the gym demolished and follow through with the plan for that. Now, that was step one, but here's where the community needs to get involved, which is step two. If you live in the city of Pensacola, within the city limits, or better known, if you have a black garbage can, if you're a homeowner or live in a private residence, you need to sign the petition to save Malcolm Young gym. Part of the restraining order to keep the gym somewhat open is that they collect 4,000 wet signatures or actual physical signatures on these petitions to make sure that they can keep Malcolm Young gym open. So we have folks that are out diligently driving day in and day out around the city of Pensacola collecting signatures. If you want to keep Malcolm Young gym open, you need to go to www.savepensacola.com. Again, that's www.savepensacola.com. And in that, on that website, they're going to ask you, are you a registered voter in the city of Pensacola? You indicate yes. If you put your name, your address, and your telephone number, one of the volunteers who are working diligently will contact you, come to your house, and actually get your physical signature on that petition. They have 30 days to get this done, or the mayor is still going to move forward with demolishing Malcolm Young gym. So again, if you are in the city of Pensacola, in the city limits of Pensacola, go to www.savepensacola.com and ask them and fill out the petition that's online so that they can come to your house, call you, come to your house, and get your actual signature on that petition. This is going to be vital to make sure that your voice is heard. Now, 4,000 sounds like a lot of signatures in a 30-day time, but I have confidence that we can do it. We just got to you actually get to work, reach out, and this is the ways. If you know people who are interested in doing it, share it with them. Again, that's www.savepensacola.com, SAVEPENSACOLA.com, and fill out the petition. So that is all that I have.
Hey, Derek, I do not understand. I do not understand why the city, they'll pay all that money to tear it down. Why don't you just donate it to the organization that wants it and let them deal with it?
All right.
Because wealthy developers has greased the palms for it to be torn down. That's why.
Yeah. Yep.
And his dad is a developer, the mayor, right?
Yep.
So and all that is considered waterfront property down through there. And so that you can you imagine the kind of money that's going to be made to put apartment buildings or condominiums in that area? They're going to make a killing. The shotgun house down there costs you $400,000.
Right.
You're talking about $1 million condo that's going to be going $1 million condos going to be going up down there.
Yeah.
Hey,
Straight up.
Well, you hear, y'all, the other folks are too young. Maybe Bill may remember this. You remember Bill Arrogant Court?
Of course, waterfront property, yes.
Yeah, you see, that was the beginning of the end right there. And I remember it. I remember it well. The first tactic they started was that, okay, they was gonna what they was gonna do was gonna buy people houses. What they said to people that we can put you into a better house that you in somewhere else. Okay, they didn't buy them straight out. They did. They bought them other houses somewhere else. Okay. And then for the folks that refused to move, then they coded them out. Then, but of course then you had a city-run development down there, which they automatically closed. But we know the beginning of the end was when Gulf Power wanted that property. They got it, and the rest is history. So we're been gentrified. I used to hear about all that stuff in other cities and stuff like that, but I never thought I'd live long enough to see it being implemented in little old Pensacola, Florida. It is already it's already done. Okay, being gentrified. Yeah.
So that's why. So I always say God don't like ugly, because when the people moved all them people out of Arrogant Court and put those $1 million houses, now they stay underwater. So when it floods, they have a flooding issue that they did not have when it was just Arrogant Court and it was the public housing. Now they can't stay dry. So
that is something to think about.
That's what
You're
that
right.
is. It floods. They had that problem before, when it was a housing project. Now it's not a housing project. Got those $1 million houses. Them people stay wet. So And
you remember
I don't know what to say about it.
Anybody remember the Trillion property? Trillion? Bill, that sounds familiar to you, right? The Trillion property. Well, we had this big septic tank down there, but they put it in the heart of the black community. They wouldn't do anything about it. But when folks wanted that property, it was no problem then to move it, and then called those folks out and got them out of there. So right now, the rest you see what's down there now. What's happening to Belmont and the Villa is the same thing. Okay. When they went in, remember the big to do about when they were running those high-powered lines through the black community? And then they said, well, okay, we'll stop it. They stopped it short right there at Joe Morris Funeral Home. That was by design, okay? Then they put underground utilities from that port forward. And people said, great, that's good. We have, damn well they wouldn't put that up then for us. And now you see the history. I just live to see it worked out. So.
And they got them what you call them, come up out the ground that when they don't want cars to come through.
Yeah.
them steel thing that come up out the ground.
Steel barriers, yeah.
Yeah, steel barriers that come out of the ground and they can block everything off and shut everything down.
Yeah. And I want people to know when they talk about the Malcolm Young Gym, they keep saying that they're going to put affordable housing in that area. But I think you need to define
what's affordable.
You need people to understand what is affordable housing. Affordable housing is not $300,000 housing, not $300,000 apartments or condos. That's not affordable housing, but that's what's going on. So don't be deceived and think, they're going to put some.
It's affordable for those folks that wants it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
but
all
not
design.
Those who need.
Not exactly right. Not for those who need it, just for those who want it.
There you go. It's wordplay, but you're absolutely right, Vern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can come up with some.
That's all I have.
they come up with some semantics.
Say again?
I said they can come up with some semantics to express what they want to get over. And
absolutely.
People talk about, and I'm like, right there at Hearst Chapel, across the street, there's a school there that they are about.
Head Start.
Yeah, the Head Start. It's closed. And the house across the street on the other corner is $400,000. That in that area, that means all them other houses now their taxes gonna go up, and that means they're gonna be gentrified out because they won't be able to pay the taxes that it's gonna cost to stay there.
There's just been a law proposed that all Floridians will not have to pay property tax.
Yeah, right. They're gonna actually pass that.
Yeah, they are. They're trying to offset this ridiculous insurance. The Republicans proposed it.
Yeah, that it would be nice if it happened.
Yeah, yeah, I believe it's going to pass, bro.
You talking billions of dollars being taken out of the economy.
I believe it's going to pass, Jerry.
Think about where your city revenue comes from, the likelihood, like if you don't have property taxes, well, how do you fund the cities? Like that literally
There has to be a catch.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, they're not doing that to be nice. There's a reason. It has to have some other stuff.
That's something that we don't know. So that literally,
you don't have to pay tax on this, but you just
schools
say go
funds it, like funds the police department, it funds everything. So to not have property tax wouldn't.
I know that
there's fund insurance instead of property taxes.
Yeah, that's right. That's what they ought to fund. They ought to the state ought to have the total control of the insurance here, and that way it could they could lower the price of insurance, especially for homeowners insurance. Insurance double, and in the this year it doubled. Where I was at.
With my quadruple friend, we got to understand that this is all by grand design, Brother Jared. Florida property is becoming what California is, and the grand design is that they raise the insurance so much that you end up selling. They're trying to force us to sell out because they want to control this property and make it. I told a client of mine this past week, man, you sitting on $1 million house, don't sell it. That's what they want you to do. Keep on raising that insurance till you figure. There's no accident you getting a letter in the mail every week saying we'll buy your property as is, right, Jared? That's no accident. I heard on Good Morning America some 6-7 months ago that there's a group of people, some 80 people that throughout the country is trying to buy at least some ridiculous amount of properties a month, and they are doing it. But I do see where Florida, that shotgun house you just spoke of, Jerry, valued at $450,000. That's absolutely right. But at the rate it's going, that same shotgun house will go for $750,000, $800,000. So I'm telling people that if you can and have the wherewithal, pay the insurance, but that's going to bottom out. I think eventually it will come down, but that's by grand design, my friend.
I don't know if it's going to come down. I hope it do. It's
got to come down. It's got to. Ain't no way they can keep on sticking us up, robbing us, raping us, and won't even kiss us.
Wait, I'm just processing what I think I heard.
Yeah, that's what they're doing, man. They're raping us, man. For sure. Won't even kiss us.
And got a pile of sand.
I got you. We go to our thing. We have about a little less than 15 minutes left, and we haven't gotten a chance to talk about it. So we have other things that we move into next week's show. But we did not talk about it last week. Didn't want the opportunity to pass by to ask any of you, the hosts, do they have any comments, thoughts, or feedback on the wonderful demonstration of how you run loops around folks that was displayed by Nathan Wade and Fonnie Willis in her court testimony a couple of weeks ago. I thought it was brilliant, but I don't know what everybody else thought.
I thought it was brilliant as well, because the lady, her attorney was up there talking about she didn't want her to testify or be called to the judge's seat of the state or wherever, on the dais, whatever it is. She came through there and sit down and said, in other words, stop everything. I'm testifying. I'm going to say what I got to say today. I thought it was a brilliant move myself.
I did too.
I thought it was a brilliant move because she shut them down. I can see why she is so tough,
Yeah, you knew it was going to be something. When she came on there with her hand on her hip, her leg twitching, I was like, uh-oh. Well, this is going to be something. She had her hands first, like, let's go. And to seal it before she could even open her mouth, as soon as she sat down, to give the cameraman or whomever she was speaking to, I think it was the cameraman, but a wink to me, where I read, her wink was about, I won't use the language, but I'll say I'm about to muck stuff up in this piece. That's what I got from her wink, and it was powerful. And everything that ensued thereon after, it was interesting, and just to see the feedback. Like initially, to see how the reporting changed on the duration of the testimony, because when Nathan Wade was up talking, and all the commentators, even on MSNBC, were like, "Oh, this ain't looking too good. I don't know how this is going to pan out. Like, it seems like this isn't going to be the best turnout." But then when Ms. Bonnie Wills got up there and cooperated, but then did her spin, as I would say, on the testimony, they were like, "Oh, we all right. She's met, they haven't met the burden of proof." Before, when he was testifying, it was like, I don't know, the other defense might have a point. But then all of a sudden, when she got out there, no, they hadn't met the burden of proof. The court, it was just an interesting turn of events, or pivot as the media was
Derek,
covering.
I picked that up too after the guy testified. I'm like, oh, this sister coming to straighten this out, because he was kind of like, he was like, I'm like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
And when she came with it, and I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, she told him, I'm not on trial. These criminals are on trial over here. One that tried to government.
See,
you might think I'm on trial, but I'm not. I'm here to tell you what the deal is. I mean, she played it out there.
Right. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, America just is not ready for a Bonnie Willis. The strength, confidence, beauty, body, everything. They're not ready for that, man. They're just not ready for it. And to open her mouth and to speak.
Are we serious right now?
Man, now look, man, I'm a man, and if you ladies can't handle that, but the woman, she's fine, man. I mean, that's no crime to say that about my sister. And she's not married, so there it is. But the strength that this woman displays when she spoke, she shut it down. She spoke truth. It wasn't something that she had to think on. It is what it is. I'm an adult. I date who I please. And I mean, but I don't think enough credit is given to Letitia James. Now, that one, that's the one too. Both of those sisters are strong, smart, beautiful, and are not inferior, and knows what they're doing. And America just is not ready.
Yeah.
That was my sentiment exactly. Letitia James is the quiet storm. She getting things done.
Yes.
Okay? And she's my hero now. I'm telling you.
She's a beast. I love her.
But you know what though? It's an interesting thing, and it's just so ironic. I guess it's just ironic that the folks taking down Trump is black folks.
Black
same
women,
folks, the same people. Well, you got my brother up there. What's his name? Alvin Braggs. Okay.
Yeah.
And he's going to be significant as well. He don't play Alvin. They think that little case that he's got is insignificant. We'll see about that. Okay. But it's kind of ironic to me after all of the shit that I said that for what's that boy named, that orange boy, did for calling for the death penalty of 5 innocent black men and all this stuff. He deserves what he gets, and I hope I can live long enough to see it.
Well, 30 days from now, you might be seeing something serious if this fellow doesn't pay that money.
Yeah.
But one of the things I noticed, Letitia James was asking for $370 million. Well, they got 364 million just for that part of it. and the media was talking about, well, she didn't get the 370 million. I'm like, okay, she's 6 million. They didn't give her 6 million, but then they got so much for punitive damage on the side of that 364 million. Then they had what was the other
interest,
one?
you got interest on it as well.
3.3 million for the Eugene Carroll 354.
Not only that, you know, the as they call it, listen to this now, as they call it, the kids got fined too. You know, They children, the kid, well, them two boys, they have to pay $4 million each, don't they? $5 million
$4 million
something
apiece,
like
yes,
that.
sir.
Yeah, and the other guy, the CEO, he on the hook for $1 million as well.
That's right.
So, yeah,
and the daughter is on for $2 million.
Wow.
Debunker.
But you know the thing, I know we ain't got much time, but the thing I just do not understand, y'all. Let's look around. Everything that Trump touches turns to crap. Okay, I'm be nice with that. Everything he touches, okay, goes from sugar to crap. Okay, everybody around it, Julie Roniana, his children, everybody in debt, in Hawkeye, in jail. Is there any success story as a result of Donald Trump involvement? Can anybody point out anything except for himself benefiting from his train wreck? Anybody? Can
No, but the beauty of it is that he can't keep his mouth shut. The beauty of it is that he cannot keep his mouth shut. He turned $5 million into 83 million because he can't keep his mouth shut. Now he's the front runner for the Republican Party, but you let him keep on talking crazy about NATO and encouraging Putin. He's gonna wreck that train. But that is the beauty of it. He cannot keep his mouth shut.
I want to hear about Jill and Christina on Mount Bonnie Willis and and
look at the nonverbals, Jerry. Bill, I think you're in trouble.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. They all, Vernon, you just been gone a while. They stay on me, man. That's why I told you I needed you back, man.
I will say that both women are extremely brilliant, and that brilliance, I'm so glad that everybody got to see it all day, every day. So that's where I'll leave my statement.
Okay, Jill. Come on with it.
I agree with what Christina said. I won't take away with what you said, Bill, but what I would say is I think the reason you saw our faces like that is that even though that might be true, please don't say it again. Even though that might be true, that's not what we want people to see and remember at all. Beauty is beauty, and it is what it is, but it should not be the reason any of that was, all the rest of it was fine to you. But okay. But it's okay. But don't say it again, because I'm afraid you're gonna say it again. What I will say is that she put everything. Let's wait a minute. She put everything on the line though. They didn't want her to get up there because she had to expose things that are going to impact her for the rest of her life. So she did what she had to do, and she did it well. But she has changed her whole life because of it. I mean, she might get a book, she might be on TV, but I'm just saying her actual life. Like, you have to understand, she told secrets and things that nobody should know. So the next time that she is your prosecutor, they're gonna be like, yeah, and you do this. And just because you keep your money here don't mean, you know what I mean? But that's what she had to do to be able to make the point. And I think the guy, he did what he had to do to allow her to do what she needed to do. He couldn't be her. He needed to be him. Answer the questions to the best of your ability, because don't just stay where you need to stay. Let her do her thing. Stay where you need to stay. That was, if I would stay where you need to stay, do exactly what you did, and let her bring it home, because she got you. Don't even worry about it. So
I agree with everything you said, my dear, beautiful, fine sister. I agree with all of that, but for me to say that Bonnie is hot is not an insult.
It's
all.
not, but then just stop there. You went into the body and all. I just
Yeah,
said-
that's what hot is, isn't it?
And it was
You don't
how
even know
it
what's hot. Just
started.
say she
It
hot.
wasn't.
Wait, time to go,
It
y'all.
was,
Time to
that's
go.
where
Time to
it
go.
started.
Mr. McIntosh, you want to close this out?
You got
Oh
one?
yeah. You got 1 minute? I'll just
Yep.
do one
Less
thing.
than a
I
minute.
want to recommend this book, The Warmth of Other Summers, Other Suns, I'm sorry, by Isabel Wickerson. It is a great book to read, and I'll turn it back to you, Derek. Close that.
Well, thank you. Next week, we'll be talking about all the things that we didn't cover today, including the recent ruling by the Alabama Supreme Court and much more. So we thank you for tuning in to our voices tonight. On behalf of all of our hosts, we wish you the very best week that you can possibly have. And we look forward to talking with you next week. Have a great night, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.